You can't just have great numbers. Like, you also have to have a great story. You have to sell the vision of your business and the story and all the problems that it is that you've come.
Working with Robert, I think that would have been probably one of the coolest things. What's been some of the biggest things you've learned working with him?
Yeah, he's definitely like a seasoned pro. The thing that, I really observed from him is he's just...
What's been the best pitch you've had so far?
Probably the best pitch was a company on there called...
So what's been one of the worst ones?
Oh my God, there was them complete doozies. I don't want to name and shame a few. I think probably...
I want to talk about Shark Tank because I've actually been watching it. That's the only TV I watch. I don't even know how to work a TV, so I had to get online. How do I watch Shark Tank? Because I always find it super interesting. So what's been the best pitch you've had so far?
I think probably the best pitch was a company on there called Contour Cubes that was selling a ice facial. And the thing that they did really well was explain the problem, agitate the problem, talk about the solution that was available in the market and all the flaws in there, and then revealed why they had a better solution to that, like a better mousetrap, basically. And then they just sprinkled on like social proof after social proof. They had the Kardashians that are using it. They showed the whole story, how they started it in their bedroom and they've exploded it and they've gotten 200 million views on TikTok. The thing that people don't see that when you're on Shark Tank is that like they're like 14-hour days.
I was going to say, so that pitch is cut down to 4 minutes or something.
Correct.
How long is that in the studio?
Yeah, the longest one was 2 hours.
Wow.
Yeah, and then they cut them down to 4 to 6 minutes. And on average, they're probably about 45 minutes a pitch. So, but what you don't see is that like we shot for 2 weeks, 14-hour days, 12 to 14-hour days. And you're seeing, 7 to 9 pitches a day, and you're sitting there and it's just pitch after pitch after pitch. You have to come in and make like a big, bold promise and capture everybody's attention. And it has to be compelling, right? Because otherwise, if you catch us before lunch or after lunch or just being aware of like where you are in the day and what we would be subjected to, and then making that present in your story. And regardless of like how astute of an investor that you are, right? Of course we look at the numbers. Of course we look all of those, right? But we first get sold through emotion and then we justify it through logic. Yeah. So if there isn't a compelling story, it is just boring as crap and like they're not good at communicating, it's like you're not going to even get us to the point of the numbers.
So what's been one of the worst ones without calling any of them out? Have you got an example of like, here's how you just completely fuck it up?
Oh my God, there was them complete doozies. I don't want to name and shame a few, but in terms of like categories, there was some like products that were aimed at teachers. Then there was like an app-based one as well. And one of the sins that unfortunately people commit is like sometimes that they can just be irrationally passionate in what about their business is. And they kind of don't ever stop and try to put themselves in the shoes of an investor. And they just think about how wildly passionate that they are. And they've probably been told, hey, you got to have passion, which is true, right? But it's got to be guided passion. Like you got to be targeted towards the outcome and thinking about the person on the other end that is receiving that pitch. And they'll come in, they'll get their evaluation wrong. And it's just like, but I'm just so passionate about this thing. And that blind passion gets in the whole journey of it all.
So for the people watching this right now and they're like, they want to go to investors to get people to invest in their business. And let's say if they are thinking about coming on Shark Tank next season or whatever, where should they have their business at? What should they be looking to have prepared already before they actually come and have a conversation that they can probably only get one time?
First thing is to know your numbers, right? That just goes without saying, right? You can't tell the story or show people where it is that you're going or reduce the risk inside the eyes of an investor without showing us the numbers.
So specific numbers,
So in terms of like the key numbers to really know what I'm looking for is what is the LTV, the lifetime value of a customer, right? What is your customer acquisition cost, right, to get them? And what is your gross profit margin and your net profit margin? With those kind of 4 metrics, I can really dial in and see like where they're at, what's going on, and what the opportunity is to kind of scale the business.
So the numbers is the most important thing.
That's like the foundation, even just to have an educated conversation about investing, right? And then you can't just have great numbers. Like you also have to have a great story, right? And you have to sell the vision of your business and the story and all the problems that it is that you've come. If someone comes in and all their numbers are great and they've never had any problems, I'm like, red flag, right? The reason for that is like, I'm looking to like bet on the jockey, not the horse. So I want someone as an entrepreneur that has scar tissue, that has proven ability to show that they can face adversity and they can figure out the problem and they can come up with a solution and they can run through walls to get to that outcome. Because if everything has been fine and dandy up until this point, well, guess what? There is some thunderstorms on the horizon. And I don't know how you react in that. I don't know if you wail, throw your hands up in the air and freak out and look for another business or look for an easy way out. But somebody that's proven that they have that grit and they have that tenacity and they're not making excuses as a lack of resources to why they are in this position, right? But they can show you how they've been resourceful and how they've overcome adversity to be in the position where they are standing in front of you. That's what it is that I want to hear. I'm looking for character, and I'm looking for people that, yes, have some runs on the board. They've proven that they've got product market fit. They're selling it on one channel and it's working, and I can come in and pour gasoline on the fire. But it's more so in, running a business, it's like you're a professional fireman, like you're a firefighter. There is always issues that are going to be happening, whether it's on the customer acquisition side, team building, like the list goes on and on and on. Like there's always going to be problems, and it's really your ability to come up with solutions to those problems. So knowing your numbers, right? And telling a compelling story and showing that you have what it takes to go through all these problems and that you're not just going to be like this person that's going to try to come and just bring problems to the investor and expect them to solve them.
Yeah. Is there any like regrets you have on the show? Like, is there any like you wish you like missed opportunities, you lost it to someone else, or that you just didn't get what you wanted that you really wanted?
Yeah, there was definitely some ones that in hindsight, there was one that didn't make it to air.
Ah.
And it was like, it got down to the very, very end, right? And I said to the entrepreneur, I was like, I'm going to ask you a question now. And I want you to think long and hard about the answer. Don't rush it, because your answer is going to determine whether or not I make you an offer. And the question that I asked them was, I give you the money today. What is our 3-year plan to get to this target that you're saying that we can get to? And the answer were all the wrong things. It was all about not doing more of what we're currently doing that got us to the place that we are right now.
Changing things.
But changing things up, adding a lot of complexity, and them not knowing the numbers. It was a franchise business. It was in the food space. And them not knowing like the specific cost. They had 3 locations. And them not having clear numbers of like, this is how much it's going to cost me to open up location 4, location 5. This is what the gross profit like contribution is going to be from these centers, because we're going to use a centralized fulfillment, and then we're just going to have these other retail stores. And them not knowing those specific things and not seeing that they had done that work, that was just like, I'm not going to sleep easy, like, writing you a $500K check, knowing that you haven't even done that preparation to know that thing, to being like, this is the only thing that's holding me back, is that I just need this capital and someone to like confirm that I'm on the right path and get there. They hadn't even done that work. So that was one that I still am in 2 minds of. I think that it's an incredible business. It had an incredible product, but unfortunately they weren't able to give me the answer.
That's what I was going to ask. So working with Robert, I think that would have been probably one of the coolest things as well on the show, to sort of sit with someone who's got like, he's been in it since like...
He's been on it for 17 years.
Forever. Yeah. So what were some of the biggest learnings you learned as an investor and a business owner working alongside him and seeing how he does deals, or even like you guys have all done deals together and stuff? What's been some of the biggest things you've learned working with him?
Yeah, he's definitely like a seasoned pro, right? And all of us sharks, we noticed that very early on, is that like when you get that many reps in, like you've been doing it for 17 years, you've been shooting it in 2 different geographies. It isn't his first rodeo, where it was all of our first rodeo, right? Like that was the first time for us, like to be on television in that format doing that thing. So I think that like the thing that, I really observed from him is he's just incredible at like articulating like the problem, and also seeing where that entrepreneur is on their journey, and knowing what are the things that we as investors, like I thought about it in the beginning. I was like, hey, I want like a lot of these businesses that I can just add a lot of value to, right? I want to add a lot of value and then explode their business. And he's like, no, like you don't want to add a lot of value. You want to take a business that's already doing well and you just want to give it cash and help it grow. Because what you're going to realize is after doing this for multiple seasons, like you're not going to have time to be dealing with everybody one-on-one, and you're not going to have time to add a lot of value to anybody. Yes, you can add like strategic guidance, but you're really looking for a vehicle that you can give money, and that's the thing that's holding them back to get them to where it is that they want to, where they want to be. And that was definitely a bit of a perspective shift for me, because I haven't been doing it for 17 years. I don't have hundreds of businesses that I've invested in like him, and understanding that it's impossible to get to absolutely every single one of them. So realistically, you're looking for people that, yeah, you can make a few phone calls, you can help them with certain things, but it's more so the thing that they need also more than anything is the capital to help them grow.
Are you going to go back on another season?
Yeah, I think that if we still don't know where we're at in terms of if there's going to be a season 2 or whatnot, it was definitely an incredible experience. Like the team that put it together is just absolutely awesome, and yeah, I'd definitely go on for season 2.
That's very cool. So as the actually, before I talk about the internet daddy stuff, the process of actually doing a deal on Shark Tank, like. So you're saying, sir, it's about 2-hour-ish sort of pitch. When you're like, yes, we're done, what then happens behind the scenes that we don't see?
Yeah, then we go into due diligence. We obviously have to get their numbers. We have to verify everything that they said on the show is correct and that they did represent themselves completely fairly. And that's a process, right? Seeing if they said they had trademarks, looking at all the trademarks, any patents that they've got, and just verifying all the things that you made an offer off that. And that's the process. It can take months going back and forth. Accountants are involved, lawyers are involved, all of those kind of things. And you really need a team behind you in order to do that and to be able to make those deals and then do all the due diligence and follow up. I don't have the time to do that. So, obviously your team steps in, you have professionals that come in, then you go through all that process, and then if everything was as the way that it said it was, then the deal is done.